I know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers and get a lot of people pissed off, but I'm not really sold on Anthony Joshua just yet, man. He has the foundation to be great. 27-year-old world champion, 18-0 with 18 KOs. He's going to be facing the biggest fight of his career, of course, by far, against a fighter whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Wladimir Klitschko. You know, what is Wladimir now? Wladimir is fucking 41. Today's his birthday. He's 41 today. He's 64-4 with 53 KOs. The last time he lost, of course, was in the end of 2015 when he lost to Tyson Fury, where Tyson Fury's movement, it was the movement and the jab in the ring. It was an ugly fight, but the ring generalship is what controlled the fight, is what had Wladimir Klitschko looking old. But a lot of people will also say that even against Brian Jennings, he looked a little old. You know, when Brian Jennings was beating him to like a drum to the body. Kubrat Pulev was having some brief but slightly good some brief good moments with the overhand right, especially with that awkward hand posture. You know, and then before that it was Alex Leope, you know, mandatory, and then that nasty fight against now, you know, PD scandalized Alexander Povetkin. So when he met Tyson Fury was tall. He had the movement. He had the punch variety. He had the defense and the overall boxing ability. Now, when it comes to Anthony Joshua, if you look at Anthony Joshua's resume right now, mind you, I've covered all of his fights on YouTube. Okay, I've covered 15 of 18 of his fights on YouTube. Right? I've seen the progression of him. I've seen what little flaws we were able to see from him because he's never been past 7 rounds. You know, but when you look at who's the biggest name on his resume, last 3 fights, okay, of course it was Eric Molina. You know, it was Dominic Breazeale, Charles Martin, Dylan White. You still have to say is the biggest name on his resume, even though he fought Charles Martin, who was the champion. So I still want to see Anthony Joshua, how he looks in rounds 10, 11, and 12. Is that too much to ask? That's not being critical, right? That's not being too critical. Now, I understand what you want to say. Well, Wladimir Klitschko is old, but Wladimir Klitschko has a very high ring IQ. And all it takes is one mental mistake for this young fighter who's still learning things that Wladimir Klitschko done forgot or mastered. It takes just one mistake, and that overhand right is coming. That straight right hand of Klitschko's is coming, and Klitschko's power, you don't want to be there in front of that shit. And one thing we notice about Anthony Joshua is I'm hoping that we get to see it with this fight is I hope we get to see the movement and not this lumbering forward 6'6", and he keeps getting bigger at each fight, it seems. 6'6", 250 pound, you know, tank. I want to see him do the movement. You know, I want to see him move around. I want to see him be just some stationary target, because what I predict is you're going to have him, Joshua, and Wladimir Klitschko in the middle of the ring trading hands. And with that, somebody's getting knocked the fuck out, because I'm not doubting Anthony Joshua's power either. Remember, he's undefeated. He's the young fighter. He's never been stopped. He's never been down in his pro career. Wladimir Klitschko, of course, he's been, you know, knocked out 3 times. But once again, that high ring IQ has to be factored in. So if you look at the heavyweight landscape right now, for some reason, I don't know how they pulled it off, but they pulled it off where this fight is not only for the IBF title, but for the vacant WBA Super World title. So how is a championship fight for also a vacant title? But hey, it's at 80,000 plus at Wembley. Carl Froch is somewhere shedding a tear, you know, because, you know, it's more than 80,000 at Wembley now. So when it was Froch Groves 2, it was really like 70,000. But this shit is really like 80,000, you know. It's a super fight, big money for both guys. And the winner is going to go on to be recognized as the #1 heavyweight, you know, in the world, even though there are other champions. So, for example, I think that Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko are better than Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker. But you have to factor in, well, You got Luis Ortiz out there. You got Big Baby Miller out there. You know, you got Tony Bellew, who got the win over David Haye. You got a Huey Fury. You got Tyson Fury on the way back. You know, so the heavyweight division has so many storylines. But now it's like, whoever wins this fight, where do they go from here? And by the way, I'm going with Wladimir Klitschko. I'm sorry. I'm going with Wladimir Klitschko. I'm going with Klitschko. Listen, can I be entitled to my opinion? Is that a crime? What type of world are we living in where you can't be entitled to your opinion? I'm going with Wladimir Klitschko, man. And I like Anthony Joshua. I'm not being an Anthony Joshua hater, but I really feel that he hasn't shown us anything. And also style, this style of him not being able to move like Wladimir Klitschko, unless he shows that, like Tyson Fury, unless he shows he's able to move around that ring. I don't trust his ability, ring IQ, against Vladimir's ring IQ. Even though because of youth, he's going to be faster. You know, his reflexes, you know, are going to be there. But still, Wladimir Klitschko, in a way, technically, has been training for like damn near 2 years now for a fight. So, you have to think, where does the winner go? They can go after Deontay Wilder, but Deontay Wilder has to fight for Main Stavern. You know, you got a WBO champion, Joseph Park, who's taking on Huey Fury in April. You got Shannon Briggs, who's finally getting a title shot after really doing nothing, fighting Fresno Quindo. Then you got Luis Ortiz out there, who's ranked very high by all the organizations pretty much just trying to find out which path he's going to go to. You got Dylan White chasing after a WBC shot. You got Derek Chisora going also after a WBC shot by fighting Robert Helenius for the WBC silver. You know, what other names am I missing? You're probably thinking, well, what's going on with Big Baby Miller? He's having some, like, you know, last I checked, he was having like some promotional issues. You got Kubrat Pulev, who's fighting fucking Kevin Johnson. You know, he's trying to maneuver. He's IBF #1. He's trying to do some maneuvering. We don't know what the hell's going on with Charles Martin. You know, Andy Ruiz, we don't really know what's going on with him, you know. And David Haye is going to be out for at least a year. He's got, you know, a major injury. So you have to factor in, how does Tony Bellew fit into all this? You know, so here's some holes. The heavyweight division, man, is lit. But as I said, you know, it's hard for me to pick Anthony Joshua, because if you look at who's the most athletic fighter that Anthony Joshua has faced, you know, even though, you know, Eric Molina's not that athletic, Dominic Breazeale's not athletic, Charles Martin's not athletic, Dylan White's not really athletic, Gary Cornish, Kevin Johnson, Rafael Zambano Love, Jason Gavin, Michael Sprott, Dennis Baktov, Christian Urix, Max Skelton, Matt Legg, Hector Avelar, Dorian Darch, who, you know, and I remember I covered these fights. I watched all these shits. So now he's going to be coming up against somebody who, you know, is obviously Wladimir is a veteran, but he's got that veteran mind. He's got all these title defenses under his record. And also, what if Anthony Joshua falls for the hugging game? What if he falls for that shit? Because, you know, Klitschko, look, if you let him, Klitschko don't give a fuck how he wins as long as he get the win. He will hug you to death. What if things get real intimate in there? You know, that's, truth be told, you may think it's going to be an ugly, nasty fight, but that's what I want to see. It's kind of like a rites of passage. It's kind of like, you know, he can score him that way. Don't let him hug you, Anthony Joshua. What if Klitschko fights that type of fight with the punch, clinch, hug you, you know, get some shots on the inside, referee break, you go right back at it again. You think Anthony Joshua ready for that, you know, like that part of it mentally? I don't know, man. Things are getting interesting. Now that I think about that. So as I said, there's so many different ways that he can fight, man. There's so many different ways Wladimir can fight this fight, and I'm wondering what kind of fight is Anthony Joshua going to fight, because he's going up against somebody that can really punch him dead in the face. Also, he's going up against somebody where they can really go the distance. We haven't seen what Anthony Joshua looks like after 7 rounds. We've seen what it looks like after 6 rounds of working. We've seen him get to the 6th round of working as far as offensively being on the front foot. But what if it's How is he going to look after 7 rounds of boxing? You know, of having to work, of being laid on, you know, of being spent around and fighting this nasty fight. Remember the rumors of shout outs to Lawrence O'Colly, the rumors of him knocking him out in sparring. So many, you know, there's so many things out there about and David Price. Let's not talk about David Price. Anyway, I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. April the 29th. Oh yeah, I was supposed to be there, but listen, man, I couldn't. As you can see, I am getting to fights at a more higher frequency, you know, but going to the UK, I just literally brought a house. Probably like, what's it been, about 3 weeks now? No, we've been here we had the house for almost 2 months. Basically, that's still not enough time to be traveling across the world. You know, I had too much on my plate, man. Then health wasn't right. But anyway, we will be getting to the UK. We're going to get to the UK this year, but it's not going to be until mid to late this year. You know, but we're going to get there for like 3 days. You know, we're going to be there in and out. You know, that's how I'm going to do my trips. I'm not going for no, you know. But we're going to talk about that later. Anyway, please subscribe. I'll link to my social media right down below. Please visit FightView360.com for all your news as far as boxing is concerned. Please subscribe.